Sanje joda zoge chonam la chanju bardo dane yazu je lage jin so gebe sonam ge dola benjere sanje jobare sho Sanje joda zoge chonam la chanju bardo dane yazu je lage jin so gebe sonam ge dola benjere sanje jobare sho Sanje joda zoge chonam la chanjo bardo dane gyabso che dage jin songe be sonam ki dola penjire sanje jubare sho Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham jayo nirodha Evam vati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham jayo nirodha Evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things of suffering nature. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. I go for refuge in the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge in the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge in the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Teyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Teyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Thyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay. The Wheel of Life, continuation of the Wheel of Life, 12 links of dependent origination, the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. The new edition, page 318. Okay, we all know where the painting is. We should be very familiar with this way it is in this book, the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. What we were doing, where we left last time was we're going through the 12 links, the last circle. In the last circle, we are doing the 12 links, and of the 12 links, we did number one. We go through the painting and the corresponding symbolism. The first one is the blind person, a blind person on the verge to fall off the cliff. So the depiction or the symbolism is the ignorance, and then the number two is a potter, and what it depicts or the symbolism is the contaminant karmas, number two. Then number three, the monkey jumping from one tree to the next tree, symbolic of the consciousness leaving the tree of the former body, the former bird's body, and jumping to the next tree of the next birth, the body of the next birth. So in other words, taking rebirth. So what connects the two births is the consciousness, your consciousness or the mind. Number 3. From number 3 we jump to number 8. Number 8, the scene with a painting of an alcoholic craving for alcohol. So that is the number 8. The symbolic of the ling number 8, which is craving or attachment. And then the number 9, depicted by a monkey eating one fruit and then with the other hand grabbing at the next fruit, which is intensified version of the craving. When the craving gets intensified, that is known as the grasping. For example, the craving is inside there, but when the craving becomes very strong, then your body will start to grasp at the object. Then from the number 8 we go to number 9 we go to number 10, the pregnant woman. Indicates symbolic of the ling number 10, which is becoming, or also translated as the existence or the becoming. Becoming is better in Tibetan. It is sipa, becoming, which is symbolic of say the karma. Number 2, which is number 2. Number 2 is being germinated by the water of number 8 and number 9, the craving, grasping, germinate this seed of the karma that is implanted in your the consciousness to make it very matured. Say the mother who is the expectant mother who is on the verge to give birth to the child, so that this karma becomes very ripened and matured, on the verge to throw you to the next birth in samsara. Then the number 11. Number 11 is the number 11 depicted by a mother actually giving birth to a child. That is symbolic of our mind being ejected from the body, and then you connect to the next birth. That is number 11, birth. And then from number 11 we go to number 4. So this is we did up to number 11. Now we go to number 4, and of course let us be a little patient as to why we are altering the sequence. So that will come later. From what we did is 1, 2, 3, then 8, 9, 10, 11. From 11 we are going to number 4, 5, 6, 7, and from 7 to number 12. This is how we alter the sequence, and then later on you will talk about why the sequence is altered. So number 11 is birth, that you take birth in the mother's womb. So before that we also discuss about say between the before you die, that is before you're on the verge to dying, when the karma to project you to the next birth, that karma becomes so matured, that is number 10. And then the actual birth, your mind is ejected and your mind connects to the next birth. So for example, if you do die in Delhi, and if you are to take birth in say Ladakh there, so this consciousness or the mind has to travel from Delhi to there in Ladakh. So this is the transition period. This is known as Parsi, or the intermediate period, intermediate being. The person is known as intermediate being, and the state is known as intermediate state. In Tibetan it is known as Parsi. Okay, that is, and the Parsi is not explicitly mentioned here. Then from from you leave this body, and then you travel to the next birth. You conceive in the mother's womb. For example, let's say in Ladakh there, that is the conception there, which is number 11, birth. Then now that conception happens in the mother's womb. So now from there, the many of the following links are going to be the mother's womb. So number 4, what we see in number 4 is that if you look at the painting there, we see that in a boat there is a boatman and there are 2 passengers. The focus should be on the 2 passengers, not the boatman. 2 passengers. The 2 passengers in the same boat, which means that the 2 passengers, whether they like it or not, they should be together till the boat and the reaches the other shore. So likewise, the 2 passengers, they symbolize our body and the mind. So these two are like the passengers of this life. Since the inception of mother's womb, your body and your mind is to connected. Your mind from the previous life and the body from the parents. The 2 substances from parents and your body connected, and then that is who you are. So your body and mind, these 2 are connected, and these 2 are like 2 passengers in the same boat of this life. Till this life continues, you have to go together. Whether you like it or not, you have to go together. And then when you reach the other shore, meaning the next birth, then the body and the mind will be separated. The 2 passengers can be separated. So the 2 passengers are there, depicting what is known as the name and form. This link is known as name and form. Name and form referring to your body, name referring to your mind. And form is easy. Form, the body, these 2 are more synonymous. But the mind is referred to as the name. Why? Name or the label. I would prefer to translate it as the label and the mind, label and the form, rather than name and body. But then the independent word, it is Ming. Ming also has the connotation of the label. So the label and the body form, or the mind, the name and the form. Name, label, same. So why the mind is not referred to as the label, why the mind is referred to as the name, is because for the physical form, how do we know the physical form? We know the physical form directly. But whereas for the mind is something which we cannot see directly. We have to talk about the mind by using the labels. For example, okay, let the other person speak. When the other person speaks, then from there you can see the degree of the knowledge of the other person, the degree of compassion of the other person, from the labels, the words the other person uses. From there you can infer you can see the mind. So that the mind is something to be known through the usage of the labels, not directly. So therefore the mind is referred to as the labels or the name. It can be also said as the words, word and form, label and form, name and form. But most commonly it is translated as name and form. That's fine. That's number 4. That is still in the mother's womb. So number 11 is the conception of the mother's womb. Then within the mother's womb, then your body tends to keep developing. The fetus keep developing, name and form. And then the next, number 5. Number 5, you will see the picture of the house with 6 windows or 5 windows. Both are correct. 6 windows means, okay, 5 windows means the 5 sense sources, 5 sense powers, and 6 means 5 sense sources plus the mental sense power. 5 physical sense sources and the 1 mental sense power. So total 6. So now that you are in the mother's womb, name and form in the mother's womb, then what happens is that you are like, in a way, we are like imprisoned in the mother's womb. We are imprisoned, and then we are just imprisoned in the small flesh that you got from your 2 parents. We are imprisoned there. So let's say, for example, if you're imprisoned in a house and you are curious to know what is going outside the house. So there the only access is through the windows. The door is closed, locked from outside, and you cannot really get out. The only way by which to see what is happening outside is through these windows. So for us, we are trapped in this body. Our mind is trapped in this body, and how to get access to the external world is only through these 6 windows or the 5 windows. Physical objects, that's 5 windows. The visual objects of the external visual objects to be seen through the window of the eyes, then the ears, nose, tongue, body, 5, plus the mental. For example, you think about the past, you think about the future, then you think about the very sophisticated concept like emptiness, so forth. So these are all to be done by the mental consciousness, not through the sensory consciousness. So we interact with the universe through these 6 doors. So it is depicted as the house with 6 windows or the 5 windows. Now, this is still in the mother's womb. That we're in the mother's womb where we keep growing. Say initially it's just like a jelly substance there. Your consciousness is trapped there. It's like a jelly-like substance there. And okay, one thing which can be important for us to know is this is a very serious debate, or a little digression, but it's a very serious debate. In the debate, and there's no consensus. Say as to when the life starts in the mother's womb. This is the question. It's a very serious question, and then the different religious traditions, they say something, and then the neuroscience, they don't have the medical science, they don't have a clear picture as to when the life starts. There, no clear picture, and because of which there is no consensus there. So the now say because of which the many cases of abortion happens, and so this is a very serious discussion of the medical ethics. So when is the abortion permissible and so forth? It's about the respecting life. There's a point. And then if you really are to respect the life, then from the Buddhist, the psychology point of view, the life starts from day 1 of the conception. It's not till like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and till like 20 weeks, and then some the nations have like more number of the weeks that you are allowed for the abortion, and some gives less number of weeks for abortion. So this is very complicated. From the Buddhist point of view, this is a very serious matter, because that is about the life and killing. Killing includes killing the fully matured human being and also the developing human being, both included. So therefore this is a very serious matter. We should really keep that mind, take it seriously. And in a way, it's not about Buddhism or so. It's about we including negative karma, the creating negative karma, and the consequence is very heavy. It's not about, if I say take cyanide, poison. If I take poison, and then say the Buddhist philosophers will say that if you take poison, you will die. You have to do the cleansing right now. And some say no, it doesn't matter. According to this person, you will not die. According to this person, you will die. So I will follow that person who says that you will not die. No, this is not about that. Who said it or who does not say it? This is not the point. The point is that what's the reality? Objective reality. People are trying to explain the objective reality. It's not that about from this tradition, from that tradition. It's not about the tradition. It's about the reality. So therefore, we should really. And then what is the reality? Reality of, say, the terminating a life. So that is some very serious matter. We should take it very seriously. So, in other words, the conception, the science, because the science does, as of now, science doesn't believe. Modern science, neuroscience, medical science does not really believe in the mind as a different coming from the former life to this. So therefore they will never have a consensus, or otherwise they will come together and say, okay, now let us decide like the 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, 20 months, or say 20 weeks, whatever. Whatever they decide, they may decide just they decide just without substantial reason. They decide on somewhere. Okay, at this point, then we see the fetus is moving, so there's a life. This is how they decide. It's not that it's not because of some very substantive reasons. So therefore, this is where we should really take care to avoid abortion, This is very serious from the Buddhist point of view. I'm very serious with this. From how the conception is explained is that two substances of parents come together, and then the consciousness, sipa, perceive, intermediate being of you from the past life, it is hovering around wherever is, and then where the conception is happening between the two parents, then some texts call as the spirits, some texts call as the intermediate beings. There are millions and trillions, infinite number of beings hovering around, and those who have karmic connection with a particular two parents, so their consciousness connects with it. That is life. That's the beginning of the life. This is how it happens. So that is the 11th conception in the mother's womb. Then within that, then it keeps developing, where the mind is not connected there, sometimes connected and then instantly ejected, which means that it's stillborn or whatever you may call it. So it starts a little bit of, say, the growing or the cell multiplication happens and then stops, which means that the consciousness is gone. The moment the consciousness is there, then the multiplication keeps happening, keeps growing. Well, consciousness, it departs, then it becomes like rotten. It stops growing. Okay, this is the basic concept. So number 4, name and form. Then number 5, it keeps growing, still keeps growing, and then we see that there is the organs. They are becoming more prominent, like eyes, ears, nose, and the body limbs. They become more prominent. But it is like, let's say that we built trains, and the trains, the metro, the trains, after they building them, and then the government let these trains have trial run without the passengers, just trial run to say that it is safe. So which means that it is there, but it is not operating. It is just on a trial, not in a commercial operation. So likewise, they say the number 5, where the house with the 6 doors or the 5 doors, what happens is that we in the mother's womb, as you as a fetus, it is grown to such extent that the sense powers are there. Sense powers are already developed, but they are not operational yet. Like the trains on the trial run, they're not commercially being operated. So likewise, you have the eye sense power, ear sense power, they're not operating at the moment. Then next comes the number 6. Number 6, you see the depiction of the couple in the union or couple kissing. This is like the touch of the two couples. This is symbolic. The actual symbolism is that just the two couples, when they first meet, this is a trigger for the child to grow. Likewise, the sense powers, the house with the number 5, the house with the 6 doors, symbolizing the 6 sense powers, they come in contact with the object, the respective objects. So number 6 is known as the contact between the sense powers and the respective objects. So at that point, the purpose is to give rise to just as two couples come together and the child is given rise to give birth to a child. Likewise, the sense power and the object comes together and the consciousness should arise. Meaning that, for example, the eye sense power and the visual object comes in contact, then the eye sense consciousness should arise. Likewise, the body sense power and the tactility come in contact, then the body sense consciousness should arise. So this is how the idea, but that the consciousness so arisen is very crude, very gross, that it does not, it is lacking the sharpness. It is lacking the sharpness to feel anything. It is like when our legs when our feet become numb, then we they step on the floor, we don't really feel what is really there. You just feel the numbness there, just a touch. So it's just a mere contact between the sense sources and the respective objects, and then the consciousness to give rise to. But the consciousness is very gross. It is not very sharp, and it is not sharp. It does not really feel that it does not have the clear, sharp, the feeling experience. We're still in the mother's womb. You are still growing. Then the number 7. Number 7, you see the depiction of the person whose eye is pierced by an arrow. So what is the feeling like if somebody pierces your eyes with the arrow, or if a dust goes into your eyes? It's very disturbing. This is very irritating. It's very disturbing. The feelings are very sharp and prominent. So now you are still in the mother's womb. You are growing, and then your sense powers, they come in contact with the object, and you have the respective sense consciousness arising, but they are not so sharp. Now, step number 7, link number 7. At that point, you have matured to such extent that your feelings become very prominent. For example, say the child, the mother doing something very hard, and the child will feel the acute pain of the hot, and drink something cold, then the child will feel acute feeling of the cold. The feelings become very prominent. So that is number 7. Number 7 is a feeling. Then from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, done. From 7 we move to number 12. Number 12, we see the cups, a person carrying cups. So the cups, that is the point. That is the link number 12, which is known as aging and death. Aging or death. The technical term would be aging or death rather than aging and death. Aging or death. Okay, so let me quickly go through this once more from number 1, and then if I have left out the labels, I'll give the labels of the various links. Number 1 is ignorance, depicted by the blind person. Number 2 is the karma, the evolution karma, depicted by the potter. Then number 3 is number 3 is consciousness, depicted by the monkey jumping from one tree to the other. Then number 3, then we go to number 8, that is the craving or the attachment, depicted by the alcoholic grabbing at the craving for alcohol. Then number 9, grasping, depicted by monkey eating a fruit and grasping at the next fruit. Then number 10, the existence of becoming, depicted by an expectant mother. And then number 11, the birth, depicted by a mother actually giving birth. Then from number 11 we go to number 4. Number 4 is name and form, depicted by the 2 passengers in a boat. Then number 5, the sense sources, depicted by the 6 or the 5 windows of the house. And then number 6, which is a contact between the sense sources and their respective objects. Then that is the contact depicted by a couple. Then the number 7, the feeling. Number 7 is feeling, depicted by an arrow piercing the eye of somebody. And then from number 7 we go to number 12, aging or death. And oftentimes people say aging and death. Better would be to say aging or death. And that is depicted by a corpse. Okay, this is how it is. Now, from this, so the outermost circle, depicting the 12 links of dependent origination. This is a detailed explanation of how the 3 inner circles, they are causally connected. Innermost circle depicting the limbs of afflictions. The second innermost circle depicting the limbs of karmas, and the third depicting the limbs of the miseries. How these three are causally connected is in detail explained by the 12 links of dependent origination. Okay. Now what I'd like to share with you is that these 12 links of dependent origination and the order. There are two different orders there. One is the way I explain now, and the other is the way it is seen there, the way it is depicted in the painting, actual painting. So there is the one order as per the depiction, order of the 12 links as per the depiction of the painting. Number one, that is known as the order as per the explanation of the painting. Then number two is the order of the 12 links as per the causal sequence. Order of the 12 links as per the causal sequence. So how I explain now, how I explain thus far: 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. So there's the jump happening. This is according to the second version, which is the order in line with the cause and effect sequence, causal sequence. This is the causal sequence, whereas the order according to the order of the 12 links according to the depiction of the painting. So that is not according to the causal sequence, and you may be wondering why it is what is given there in the painting. It is the altered. It is not according to the causal. Why this particular order is given is for a specific reason. It has a tremendous meaning to tell us that this is will. This will meaning that our existence is samsara. Our existence is endless samsara unless and until we put effort to stop this wheel. It's an endless samsara. So for that matter, what we need to know is that let's say for this, that to know that our existence is samsara. Samsara, cyclic existence, is the existence in form of the suffering existence in a cyclic form, in a form of cycle which never stops on its own. So how to understand this, we need to know what is known as the four limbs. The same terminology, limbs is being used in many contexts. So this to explain how our existence is a cyclic existence, how our miserable existence is a cyclic existence. This misery will never come to an end on its own, as long as we don't put effort to stop this misery. So how do we know that? To know this concept, we should know that the 12 links are to be classified into 4 limbs. The 4 are number 1 is projector limbs and projected limbs. Number 1 is projector, number 2 is projected. Projector limbs and the projected limbs. Then then the next one is the immediate produced limbs and the immediate producer limbs and the immediate produced limbs. Okay, let me say this again. The projector limbs and the projected limbs 2. Number 3, immediate producer limbs and the immediate produced limbs. To make it simple, projector projected, producer produced. And again, producer produced, don't try to interpret in your own ways. Don't try to interpret this meaning in your own ways. The point is that in the context of the 4 limbs pertaining to explaining how our existence, our miserable existence, the existence of suffering, that is cyclic in nature. In this context, where the 4 limbs are explained, So there, in the context of the 4 limbs, the producer does not mean the producer in general. It is the immediate producer, immediate produced. Number 3 is immediate producer, and number 4 is immediate produced. And number 1 is projector, number 2 is projected. Okay, so we have to first classify them into the respective of the 12 links. We have to say put them into the 4 limbs. Number 1, 2, and 3. Number 3. What is number 3? The number 3 is the consciousness. So number 3, what we do is that number 3 can be split into 2: the causal consciousness and the resultant consciousness. Causal consciousness and the resultant consciousness. Okay. The causal consciousness is when the karma is accumulated and the karma is imprinted on your consciousness. The consciousness on which the karma is imprinted freshly, that is the causal consciousness. And the resultant consciousness is the next birth. The first moment of the birth, there you have the consciousness. That is the resultant consciousness. So number 3, consciousness, we split that into 2: the causal consciousness and the resultant consciousness. So having split link number 3 into 2, then we have now for the projector limbs, number 1, which is ignorance, number 2, karma, number 3, the causal consciousness. These 3 fall under the projector limbs. Then the projected limbs, okay, number 1, projected limb, number 1 is the resultant consciousness, number 2 is name and form, then the sense sources, then the contact and the feeling. How many of them are there? Okay, resultant consciousness, name and form, sense sources, contact, feeling. 5 of them. 5 of them fall under the projected limbs. Then the next, number 8, 9, 10. Number 8, 9, 10, they are the producer limbs. Number 8, 9, 10, producer limbs. Then number the 11, 12, produced limbs. Okay, now you may be wondering, okay, from this what we see is that the projector is the cause, projector is the result. And likewise, the producer is the cause and produce is the result. From this we see that there are 2 sets of cause and effect. 2 sets of cause and effect. Projected is 1 set of cause and effect, and the producer produce another set of cause and effect. There are 2 sets of causes and effects. Okay. So now we see that the order, how we see here, the order of the 12 links, how we see in the painting is the projector, projected, producer, produced. So this is how the order is placed. Projector, projected, then producer, produced. With this, how does it help us to know that, okay, our existence is samsaric, our existence is cyclic? How do we know that? Okay, let's say that the last life we have accumulated a negative karma. Let's say first part of the, okay, let us put it like this. Okay, last life we accumulate so much of negative karma, so much of positive karmas, and all these karmas are implanted in the form of imprints on our consciousness. So last life, same, the first part of to make it very simple, first part of our life we accumulated a negative karma. So conscious, number 1, ignorance. Then because ignorance, negative karma is accumulated, and it is stored in the form of seed on the consciousness. That is from the first part of your life, the immediate past life. Then the second part of life, meaning that the second half of your life, immediate preceding life, the former life. So there, then you, let's say that you start to study dharma, you start to practice compassion. Again, they're triggered with ignorance. You accumulate positive karma, and this karma is implanted on your consciousness. So the same consciousness is having two sets of, say, the karmas. One, the karma, negative karma, which you accumulate in the first part of the life. The next, the positive karma in the second part of your life. So now, let's say that now we are on the verge to die. The previous life, verge to die. When about to die, then what happens is that they say there are millions of karmas. So I'm just taking an example of two. Of the two, whichever is more powerful, that is going to serve as serve to decide what this life is. So let's say that our human birth, for sure, is not because of negative karma. It's because of positive karma, which means that of the two karmas, the first half of the karma, which is negative, and the second half of your life, the positive karma, that positive karma, if happen to be more powerful, then that, okay, in both cases, let's say, of the 12 links, in both cases, which of the 12 links are completed with the first one? First karma, the ignorance, contaminant karmas, and consciousness. Three are there. Likewise, for the second one also, ignorance, positive karma, positive but contaminant karma, and then the consciousness. Three, both them. So 3 gone. 3 gone of the 12 links. So there are two sets already happening there. Two sets from the last life. Actually, there are millions, not just two. But the two given to make it very simple, two sets happening. Of the two, let's say that which of the two will continue the whole circle, right? It depends on which is more powerful. Say if the second one, the virtuous karma, is more powerful, let's say that is more powerful, then what happens is that closer towards the death, then this karma implanted on your consciousness, that is going to be germinated by number 8 and number 9. Number 8 and number 9, right? Number 8 and number 9. Okay, it's going to be germinated by number 8 and number 9. Then the karma will become number 10. It will become very mature karma. So, closer towards the death, what happens is that number 8, 9, 10 manifests. Okay, so now, with the second karma, meaning the positive karma they accumulated in the second half of the previous life. So there number 1, 2, 3 happened. Then number 8, 9, 10 happened. Then what happens is after the 10, then your mind is ejected. Your mind is ejected and you are connected to this life. This life begins with number 11, birth in the mother's womb. Birth, number 11. Then from number 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 12. So we see that in the previous life, you have what happened was that number 1, 2, 3 of the positive karma, then number 8, 9, 10, then these 6. So 1, 2, 3, these 3 are the projected karma. No, projected limbs, sorry. Number 1, 2, 3 of the positive karma, these 3 are the projected limbs, 3 projected limbs, and then the number 8, 9, 10. Number 8, 9, 10, these 3 are the producer limbs. So the projector the projectors are the causes, producers also causes. So the 6 causes from the 12 links happen in one life for that particular situation. Then this life begins with number 11. Number 11, that's the result. Number 11. From number 11 we go to number 11 along with the resultant consciousness. 11 along with the resultant consciousness. 11 which is birth, and resultant consciousness number 3, and then number 4, 5, 6, 7, and then number 12. In other words, all the 6 resultant states 6 causal happen in one life, and 6 results happen in the next life. This is what is happening. Now, let's say that now, today, in this life of the one ignorance, the projector limbs of this life, limbs of this life happen when? This life or the former life? The former life. In the former life, projector limbs, which is ignorance, the contaminant karma, which is the positive one in our case, and then the consciousness, these happen in the immediate previous life. Then, now in this life, now with us, what is happening? Which of the limbs are happening? Okay, conception already happened. Number 11 happened. Then the number 4 is already happened. Number 4, 5, the sense sources already happened. Then number 6, contact, sense sources and the object contact also happened. Then number 6, the feeling, contact. Then number 7, the feeling. At the moment, we are going through the number 7, the feeling. Number 7. And number 12, aging or death. Number 12 already started. Number 12 actually started from the second moment of the conception in the mother's womb. Aging already started from the second moment. But the complete form is yet to happen. Aging or death. This limb, the death is not yet completed. So therefore, now we are on the verge to complete the one circle, one wheel. We are on the verge to complete the one wheel. Okay. Before we complete the one wheel, what happens is that, again, how many karmas are accumulated in this life? How much they say anger? How many times we became angry? It was your mother, it was your father, it was your friends, it was your colleagues, so many times, and the negative karmas accumulated. Likewise, how many of us, we really enjoyed the study of the Narendra Master's course, Narendra Diploma course, and every time you feel that, I have to practice compassion, I have to study this more, I have to meditate on compassion more, I have to meditate emptiness more, I have to study more. Every time these, the rigorous thoughts, virtuous thoughts arise, you are accumulating an incredibly powerful virtuous karma. So before one circle finishes, we already started many circles, many wheels, many more. We trigger many new wheels, new ignorance, new karmas, new consciousness. We already come up with the new. So now what happened was that, so now let's say that last life, the first part of the last life, because of our anger towards our mother and so forth, we accumulate negative karma. Now in this life, that negative karma is yet to ripen. So that karma, let's say that before we die, that karma takes the precedence. That karma becomes the most powerful one, and then that is going to decide our next life. So there what happens is that now, so for this karma, number 1, ignorance, number 2, karma, number 3, consciousness, all happen in the previous life. And then it cannot decide this life. So this life, the virtuous karma decided. Now virtuous karma exhausts, finish. Closer to its death, now that karma, the negative karma, becomes more powerful. So 3, the projector limbs, they happen the last life. And then in this closer to the death, what happens is that that karma, that negative karma, is going to be ripened by the number 8, craving, number 9, grasping, and then this karma will become the number 10, becoming. So number 8, 9, 10 of the 8, 9, 10 of the wheel, which we already started last life. Then after that, then what happens? It will project us to the unfavorable life. Say like hell, the hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm, wherever. So there. So that what happens is that then so there, number 11, birth. Then number 4, name and form. Number 5, sense sources. Number 6, contact. Number 7, feeling. And then So while the feeling is going on, again, so many newcomers accumulated. Again, many new the wheels are they started. So before one wheel finishes, many incredibly innumerable number of new wheels are created before one completes. So when will these wheels stop? It will never stop, because before one stops, many new wheels are started. And then if you don't put effort to stop the wheels, then the wheels will invariably come into action, to completion. So which means that because that they innumerable, infinite number of wheels will start, it will take infinite number of times to complete the wheels. Which means that we will continue to suffer endlessly until if we don't put effort, the miseries will continue perpetually. The miseries will just perpetuate without end until we put some effort. Okay, so this is where we come to know that, say, from this what we see is that in this, according to this depiction, the order that you find of the 12 links in this depiction, we say that 1, 2, 3 projected, then the 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 1, 2, 3 projector, then 4, 5, 6, 7 projected, right? And then the next one is 8, 9, 10 producer, then 11, 12 produced. So we see that there are two sets of causes. The one set of cause and effect was a projector and projected. So there, project and project is a set of cause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 1. So in this set of cause, where is number 8, 9, 10? It's not there. Okay, 8, 9 is not there explicitly, but implicitly it is there, because they should, for the wheel to be completed, there must be 8, 9, 10. So in the first set, number 8, 9, 10 as the producer is implicit, and number 11, 12 as the produce is implicit. So there's one wheel there operating, and then in the second half, producer and produced, 8, 9, 10. In the second, produce and produce, cause and effect. So there, projector is missing, projected is missing. So projector, without the projected, without the projector, the producer cannot happen. So projector must be there. So that is implicitly taught, which means that there are two wheels overlapping. From one wheel there, which we can prominently see, within that, there are two wheels actually operating. One is projector projected as explicit, and the producer produced as implicit. And the other one, because here, say 1, 2, 3. From 1 to 3, we don't jump to number 4, 5, 6. 1 to 3, then we have to go to 8, 9, 10. You're getting it? So 8, 9, 10 is missing there. In the first set of the cause and effect, 8, 9, 10 is missing as the producer. So without the producer, then the 4, 5, 6, 7 cannot happen. So the producer is explained as implicit, which means that there's one circle there with the projector and projected. 1, 2, 3, in between the producer is there, right? So that is implicit. Then from there, then the number after the producer, then produced. Number 11 is also there, but it's not seen there because it is implicit. So from this we see that there's whole one cycle there. Within the same wheel, we see that there's one wheel, complete one wheel there, and then the producer produced is again, say number 8, 9, 10. After 8, 9, 10, it is number 11. Is number 11? 8, 9, 10. After 8, 9, 10 is 11. After 11, directly dead. No. After 11, then number 4, 5, 6, 7 is there. Where's 4, 5, 6, 7? Number 1. And then 8, 9, 10. How come the 8, 9, 10? So 10 came from where? From number 2. Where's number 2? It's not there. Right? So that's implicit. As implicit. And then to have the 2, there must be number 1. Where's number 1? It's implicit. And who carries this number 10? Number 3. That is implicit. So the projector, projected, they are all implicit in the case of the producer, produced. So we see that within the same wheel is a combination of the two wheels there. Two wheels there. The first wheel having the producer, produced, implicit. And in the second wheel, the projected, projected, implicit. There are two wheels overlapping. Two wheels overlapping. Just as wheel A and wheel B, these two overlapping, wheel B and wheel C are overlapping. Wheels B and C overlapping, C and D overlapping, which means that before completing wheel A, wheel B already started. Before completing wheel B, C is already started. Before completing C, D is already started. Which means if this happens, when will the wheel stop? It will never stop. It's like a cycle. So this will give us a very beautiful picture, very clear picture of how our existence will never come to an end. The samsaric, miserable existence will never come to an end until we do something to get rid of the suffering. So this, even samsara is also impermanent. So it is impermanent, and let's keep in mind that impermanent, it has 3 connotations. One is impermanent where the continuum of the object stops automatically. For example, say 2019, we don't have to put any effort. It came to an end automatically. Our birth, our life, our samsaric life. So this life, no matter what we do, it will come to an end automatically. So impermanent, one group of impermanence is where the continuum of the object comes to an end automatically. Number 2, impermanent where the continuum of the object never comes to an end, no matter what we do. The continuum of the object is eternal, like our mind, the self, the person. The continuum of the person will continue. The continuum of this life, this person of this life will end. But the continuum of I, this will keep going. The former life, this life, the future life. It will never come to an end. Even you achieve Buddhahood, still this I will continue. And likewise your mind. My mind of this life will come to an end. But my mind per se, my mind will never come to an end. The continuum will never come to an end. So this is the impermanent group number 2. Then number 3, impermanent group number 3. That is impermanent whose continuum will come to an end only if we put in effort. If you don't put effort, this continuum will never come to an end on its own. Okay, what is that? Our samsaric existence, our self-grasping ignorance, our contaminated karmas, our afflictions, and likewise our self-centered attitude, our being ordinary being, our being sentient being, and our being samsaric being. Okay, we are ordinary beings, we are samsaric beings, we are sentient beings. We being ordinary, we as ordinary beings, continuum of we being ordinary beings, the continuum will stop when we reach the path of seeing. When we reach the path of seeing, then we as ordinary beings, continuum of we as ordinary beings will stop. And then we as the samsaric beings, will stop when we achieve nirvana, when we achieve arhatship. And we, our continuum as a sentient being, will stop when we become a Buddha. Okay, so this is so likewise, to stop this wheel, what should we do is that we have to study the 12 links. Of the 12 links, His Holiness the Dalai Lama oftentimes says that of the 12 links there's one soft spot. If we can eradicate that, the whole wheel will stop. This is what His Holiness would say. That, and in the in the Salistamba Sutra, the Rice Eating Sutra, what did the Buddha teach? The Buddha taught that whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. Whosoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha. Okay. Whosoever sees the dependent origination, not seeing dependent origination is ignorance. Seeing dependent origination is the wisdom. So with this wisdom, you will see the Dharma. With the Dharma, you will see the Buddha, which means that you will achieve Buddhahood. You will achieve Nirvana. You will achieve the Buddhahood. Okay. So this is one indication where you tackle the ignorance. And ignorance is of the 12 links. The first link is the ignorance. That is the soft spot. If you tackle that, then automatically the second link will be stopped. And if you stop this second, then the third link, the consciousness which carries all these contaminated imprints, will be stopped. When the consciousness stops, then the name and form, then the sources, then the contact, the feelings, the craving, then the grasping, then the existence or the becoming, then the birth, aging and death, all will be stopped. So this is what the Buddha indicated in the Salistamba Sutra in the following passages, when the Buddha said that because this exists, that exists, because this is produced, that is produced, because of ignorance, karmas arise, because of karmas, consciousness arise, and then it keeps going like this, and then because of the birth, aging and death arises. Because of aging and death, then the lamentation, grief, anxiety, anguish, all the whole load of miseries arise. Then the Buddha continued by saying that when the ignorance stops, then the contaminant karma stops. When the contaminant karma stops, consciousness stops, then the name and form stops, then the sense sources, then the sense sources, contact, feeling, then the craving, grasping, becoming, birth, and the aging and death stops. When the aging and death stops, then the lamentation, grief, the grief and there's one word. Okay, the grief, and then the whole host of miseries will stop. So this is how we can stop this wheel. The 12 links can be stopped by stopping the first link. That's stopping the ignorance. Okay, so so from this what we learn is that how the order, the sequence that we find of the 12 links given in the painting, this to tell us that it's a samsara. Our existence is a samsaric existence, and if you are really fed up with all the sufferings that are going in the six realms, through these 12 links, if you're really fed up with that, if you're really scared of that, then we have to put effort. If you don't put effort, we can never wait. However much we may wait, the dream of stopping these miseries will never happen. Okay, so if you know this very well, and the more we reflect on this, samsara is very scary. That's very true. Samsara is extremely scary, and if you think about it very seriously, it's very scary, and particularly how it never stops. For example, say the one example that comes to my mind is that one of my friends, he was already in his 50s. That was like several years ago. Not only several, I think like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. He was already in his maybe like late 40s or early 50s. And then he lost his mother. And he was very close to his mother. And he told me that his mother actually passed away with the mother's head in his arms. And then it was a big, the say setback to him, and it really shattered his life. He saw the life as so ephemeral, meaningless, hollow, and gloomy. And then after that, he also saw the his mother's body being cremated, and then he saw the ashes there, and towards the end, ashes there. With this, then then later on, he said, "I'm just operating. I'm just living. I'm just surviving for the sake of surviving. I don't see any reason why I should survive. There's no meaning there." And whenever I see somebody walking, I see like just a bunch of ash walking, because he saw his own mother, who was so alive, so compassionate, loving, caring, suddenly turned into ash. Then whenever somebody walks, he could literally see like a bunch of ash walking. This is what he narrated. It's so painful. And we can see that he's just living there. Then deep inside, he feels he's just so broken, and doesn't see any meaning of life. This is what, and then the pain. Just imagine the pain of the loss of this mother, of being with the mother for the last 40 or 50 years, and then suddenly that person disappeared from his eyes. It's so painful. So when will this pain stop? This question. When will this pain stop? When we die? No. Again will come. The next life will be there. It's just unending, perpetuating. It's perpetuating. So when will this stop? Until we do something, it will never stop. It's a cycle. This is meaning of the samsara. This is meaning of the cyclic existence. So how to bring it into this? The more we reflect on these 12 links of dependent origination, the more we reflect on the wheel of life, then we see that for a wise person, our samsara existence is very, very, very scary. And today we are all very healthy, and we have food to eat, we have some shelter there. But then how can we guarantee that this will be forever there? And look at somebody who's not having a shelter, look at somebody who's been kidnapped, look at somebody who's being stabbed to death, look at somebody who become the victim of the coronavirus, and so forth, and then so much of fear. And this is what we are all just like in the gallows row, just waiting for your turn for the gallows meaning beheading. Just waiting there. It's exactly like this. The more we think of this, it's extremely scary. And of course, we can be, lured by the fantasies of the samsara once in a while there. But if we think holistically, it's very scary, and there's nothing really good at it, nothing really appealing there in it. It's very scary. So the more we think about this, the more we think about it. This is meditation. This is known as analytical meditation. With this, then the feeling will come to us that when will this ever stop? It will never stop on its own. We think of the 3 kinds of impermanence. So this belongs to the 3rd category. These miseries will stop only if we put effort, a wise effort. What is that wise effort? Just see from the 12 links, which has the soft spot, that is the ignorance. Identify that and get rid of this. So this is how we can possibly bring an end to this suffering. Okay, we'll stop here for today. A quick dedication prayer. Okay, a quick dedication prayer, which is on page 52 according to the new book, new edition. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine and scripture and insight, may I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly within the two stages. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom I have blinded by ignorance. And let us recite the Om Tare Tutare Turisom, the Aratara mantra, which His Holiness recommended for people to recite it to stay away, that the coronavirus infection will stop, and that nobody suffers because of this infection, that nobody has to live in fear. Let us pray. And those who are already affected, who pass away because of this, let us pray that they take birth, they take a favorable birth to be in where they're connected with the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching of compassion, the teaching of the bodhicitta, and the teaching of the wisdom of emptiness, and that they're able to eliminate their mental defilements completely, and the Buddha nature inside becomes manifests in the complete form of Buddhahood to guide all the sentient beings towards the ultimate happiness. And those who are affected, let us pray that they soon recover from the infection, and those who are bound to be affected, let us pray that they don't come in contact with the coronavirus at all. And then those who live in fear, that may soon the coronavirus come to an end, and that people are being elevated from the state of the fear to the state of the fearlessness. Okay, with this mind, let's recite the Aratara mantra, like 21 times. Om Dare Tudare Ture Swaha, Om Dare Tudare Ture Swaha, Om Dare Tudare Ture Swaha. Okay, as we recite this mantra, let's do the nectar descending practice. Visualize the Aratara in front of us, Buddha Shakyamuni in the manifesting in the form of Aratara. You surrounded by your two parents, all the family members, and all sentient beings, everyone who passed away because of the coronavirus, who are infected by the coronavirus, who live in the fear of coronavirus, and all sentient beings with you, and that the nectars flow from the Aratara syllable thumb at her heart, and through the whole body, from the forehead, from the throat, from the syllable thumb at the heart, and they descend down to remove all the mental defilements, the coronavirus, the problems, and everybody is healed, levitated to the state of the Buddhahood. Om Dare Tudare Ture Soha, 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 Om Dare Tudare Ture Soha. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, see you next time.